some scary movie.
Like scary movies?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite scary movie?
Look at me, Damien. It's all for you.
Kill her, Mommy. Kill her.
We all go a little mad sometimes.
This is my boomstick. Here's Johnny.
I have to return some videotapes. We'll tear your soul apart.
Hello and welcome to All Things Horror, the podcast that reviews horror movies both old and new. I'm Ben and I'm joined here with Matt and Mitch. We're going to be having a brief spoiler-free chat about today's movie before we go through the plot in a bit more detail. And then, as always, we'll finish off with our own personal ratings. And also, you're going to want to stick around to the end because I've got a very good game today.
Oh no!
For once, you're actually going to be going head-to-head with someone, Matt.
So I can lose in a different way.
See how much you actually know.
It really depends. I either get 10 out of 10 or 0. There's never anything in the middle.
Yeah, so today we're going to be discussing Fright Night from 1985. Welcome Mitch. It's nice to have you here. We got in touch, a couple of weeks ago. You're a horror content creator yourself. Do you want to tell people a little bit about that?
Yeah, I started up a YouTube channel over a year ago, and it's predominantly horror, but there's a lot of other genres in there just to sort of mix it up a little. But I'm new to this world in terms of producing content and reviewing. Something I've always wanted to do. I wanted to get out of the warehouses at UPS and actually do something creative for a change. So that's why I'm here doing this kind of thing with you guys, because this is a bold new step.
Yeah, definitely.
Awesome, that's cool.
So what is it about horror, in particular, do you have a favourite, subgenre of horror that you tend to, go towards? Older 80s or newer?
But I think my life in horror started with Nightmare on Elm Street, so right. I owe a lot to the slasher genre, but I do think just horror in general has always been something that has an excitement behind it, and it's got so many layers, and there's something for everybody there. So yeah, I think it's more fascinating than any movie genre.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm more of a slasher type guy myself. Grew up on, like you, Elm Street, Friday the 13th, Halloween's, love it all. Slashers, and more in particular, I love my practical effects.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Matt? What's your go-to?
You can say what I'm into. I sort of lean more to the trashier side of horror, sort of ridiculous, silly, not so much splatter, but it tends to go that way, like sort of Basket Case and Frank Henenlotter films, Terrorvision. I suppose if we're putting it on a grid of Nightmare on Elm Street, I lean more to sort of the third one as my favourite, because it's the sort of most day-glow and silly and over the top. So yeah, I guess that's where I lean with my horror. And then on the other side of it, I guess what got me into horror again, or kind of revisiting it, was Argento and Suspiria and Giallo films like that. So a real mixture between ones that people might think are arty and ones that people might think are rubbish. I'm kind of I like both of those things.
Yeah, you're a bit unique when it comes to witch horror. So it's like Matt, if like you said, your favourite Elm Street is the third one, which is Dream Warriors. Mm-hmm. And your favourite Friday, this is testing me now, your favourite Friday the 13th is the fourth one?
Yeah, that's right.
Here we go. And I know your favourite Halloween.
Yeah, because it's your least favourite.
It's my least favourite, the third one.
The third one.
Was it Season of the Witch?
It is, yeah.
It's a
Dr.
cult
Dan.
classic.
Yeah.
Oh, I love Dr. Dan. My friend Larry has got a NECA set of Dr. Dan and all of the kids from, in their masks from the thing. I'm so jealous of him because you can't get them anymore. I was like, oh, so good. But I was thinking of Ben. I was like, he just wouldn't want it.
No. Whose side would you be on for Season of the Witch? Would you be more Matt's side or my side? Because I don't like it and he absolutely loves it.
Matt's.
Really?
Hey.
Yeah, I love Season of the Witch as it is on its own. I think they probably shot themselves in the foot with the marketing of it.
Yeah. I
think if they'd have released it as it is without any connection to the franchise, I think you'd have seen a different reaction, and maybe it would have, I don't know, tailored other people's views to it a little more, so to speak.
Mm.
Yeah.
So obviously, this is a classic vampire horror. What comes to mind when I think of vampire horror is obviously Lost Boys, this one, Fright Night, From Dusk Till Dawn, Salem's Lot, obviously Dracula, not everyone, yeah. What comes to mind when you two think of vampires? Do you have a favourite, an all-time favourite vampire horror?
I'll let you go first, Mitch.
That's a good question, actually, because the ones you reeled off then, Salem's Lot used to come to mind. I tend to veer off to other directions because I know the others so well. Like Lost Boys is just, that goes without saying.
Yeah.
And Dracula, obviously. But when it comes to actual, if you're talking just Dracula, I really liked the performance, and I'm terrible with names, and I should have remembered, but I really liked the performance of the guy in the Monster Squad that played Dracula. So that one always comes to mind. But this one in particular, I think, is quite high on the list as well.
Yeah.
I get in a lot of trouble for because I've not seen Monster Squad, even though everybody tells me how amazing it is, and it'd be right up my street. And I guess the more people tell me to watch it, the more I've kind of gone and not watched it. Which is really strange. But yeah, it's in a way there's a similarity, isn't there, to the film we're talking about today. There's that kind of I like the idea of like horror hosts being put into the real world as well. Like in I think that's the thing that stands out about Fright Night for me, is like that idea of someone who plays a character then suddenly being asked to use the skills that character has, not them as a person.
Yeah. I didn't sign up for this kind of thing. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's so funny. I love stuff like that. Or like an actor who's full of self-importance suddenly being asked to do something.
Yeah, I was listening to a podcast the other day, and it had obviously Tom Holland, the director and writer of this film, on it, and he seems like such a nice, genuine, down-to-earth guy, such a lovely man. And he was talking about what he was going through when he was writing Fright Night, and he said that this was literally the most fun he's ever had writing a film. Like, he just could not put the pen down. He was just writing in, and obviously it's got it's fun, like humorous moments as well. And it's like he was laughing whilst writing it, and he just wanted to get to the end because he just could not wait to have it. Like, it's so good.
Yeah, it's so. He seems like a really nice guy, and I'm pretty sure my friend interviewed him and said that he was a really good, a good person to chat to, very open. And I was more interested. I didn't hear much about it. I was more interested because I'm a big fan of Psycho 2,
yes.
And I think that was either his first film or one of the first ones he wrote. And I was like, oh wow, ask him about Psycho 2, and I don't think he did. And I was like, it's interesting. He's got this history as a writer, but this is the one, writing and directing. So I'd imagine he's not having to please anybody other than himself to a certain degree. So you can see that this must be what he's like, what a horror fan writes as a movie.
Yeah, I mean,
I can understand why you would have fun with this, because Psycho 2 is one of my favorite films of all time.
Oh wow!
And I think to go and do something like that off the back of an absolute classic, to write the screenplay for a sequel to this movie, which is like a groundbreaker, to go and do that, but then to be able to do this, which is obviously more freedom, a bit more of himself in it. I can understand why you would enjoy this project more.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to have some balls to do Psycho 2.
That's it.
To do it well.
Yeah.
People appreciate it more now. I think people have come to it more now. A bit like we were saying about some of the other films where people kind of like say maybe more people have come to Halloween 3 now. Psycho 2, I hear people saying nice things about it. It's I do a Ghost Stories podcast, and we're having it as one of the paired films for the story in a couple of weeks' time, and I can't wait to talk about it because I rewatched them all recently, and 2 really did stand out because I think people forget that in the first one you don't really see Norman Bates that much, and in the when we did it on this podcast, it was like I don't think we were both surprised at like revisiting it and then going, "Whoa, Norman's not in it a lot." But in the second one, it's like a character study, and it is really well written. Like Tom Holland does a really, really good job. I'm pretty sure he was really young when he wrote it as well.
So bold as well to try and invoke sympathy for him, which he does really well. You almost feel bad for feeling sympathetic. But, very well written.
Yeah, I'm Team Norman.
He also wrote Child's Play. Just Child's Play, didn't he? Did he do the writing for Child's Play? Yeah.
He did. Wow.
So he's had quite the career.
Yeah, he's a convention dream, isn't he? Really?
Yeah. He's able to like jump into because there's not a lot of similarities between those 3, which you probably say is most popular. Child's Play, Psycho 2, and Fright Night. They're all very different, but all well within the horror genre. It's interesting to think that he's not. I mean, he has had a good career, and he's popped up in loads of things, acting, directing, and bits and pieces. But like, it would have been cool to have had him like maybe, to have 3 or 4 more on that level. Like it seemed like after maybe in the 90s or whatever. But there isn't. There's I think he did the screenplay for Thinner.
And
I can't even remember Fright Night Part 2, but I don't think did he just have character credit for that? I didn't actually write it. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't think he was on board for that.
Right.
There's quite a lot of people from the first involved in it, but funnily enough, I don't think he is.
Right.
Yeah, and this did really well on its release. Yeah.
Sorry.
Marcy.
It's obviously it doesn't think it did well on its release.
Yeah.
We're done. She's done. She's ready.
Cool. Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, this one did really well on its release. Like, it had a budget of 8 million, and it made a box office of 25. And the critics are really quite well as well. Like, IMDb have given it a 7 out of 10. Rotten Tomatoes is 83%, which is good for Rotten Tomatoes.
I seem to remember this being one of the first films we ever spoke about, Ben. This is a favourite of yours?
Yeah, I do. I think we might have done it on a poll pick, but Lost Boys, I think, took the win on it. Yeah, but I was happy with either because I love both of them, Lost Boys and Fright Night.
The win-win, that, isn't it?
Yeah. I don't think I've seen the remake for this. 2011 with Colin Farrell.
It's okay. I've seen worse remakes. It passes. I think.
Okay.
I can't remember much about it. I might because this kind of passed me by as when I was younger. I definitely may have even watched the remake before I watched the original. It's a strange one for me because you'd think it'd be like an absolute favorite, like say The Lost Boys or something like that. And I've watched it a couple of times, and I appreciate it's good, and I get lots of good things out of it, but I don't have that emotional connection to it that maybe I have for some like films that maybe came out around that same time. Because like, what are we in 85? So 84, 85, 86, 87, they're all like really good years for horror.
Yeah.
But for some reason, this just passed me by, and I don't know why. It's strange.
I find it very difficult with remakes because I'm always on the side of the original. I'm very traditional. I'm okay with saying that, but I didn't really dislike that remake. I just didn't feel much for it. Weirdly enough, I watched a film yesterday that I like the remake more on, and that is, I can count on one hand how many times that's happened, and that was, and the reason I'm bringing it up is because it's technically a vampire movie, and that's the Last Man on Earth. This was a 64 version of what became I Am Legend.
Yes.
Right.
And they're all vampires in that one. So it was, it's a strange situation for me to go, actually, no, I like the remake more than that.
Yeah, it's funny because I think the original of that is Vincent Price, isn't it? I'm like a massive Vincent Price fan. I'm just that Theatre of Blood is one of my favourites of his, and all the Poe films. But again, I can't. Yeah, I remember watching I Am Legend at the cinema, and I believe that there might be a new one on the way.
Apparently.
But I don't think I have any strong feelings about anything, because even though I love Vincent Price, I don't think I got much out of that particular film. But yeah, strange.
Yeah, I think me and Matt have had words quite a lot on remakes. I think that was another Pulpic thing as well, like pick a remake, and I believe, which remake did we do? Was it Friday the 13th remake?
It might have been. Yeah. We watched we watched the other one, The Minor,
My Bloody Valentine.
Bloody Valentine, with 1 2-minute chunk, which is insanely good, and the rest of it's rubbish.
I know which bit you're on about.
You know which bit I mean? Is the the naked lady and the little person, right? Which is absolute madness, and then the rest of the film is just bland.
I'm trying to think if I've got a favourite where I've actually preferred the remake over the original, because I'm the same. I always stand by the original. I don't know actually.
Maybe, would you count reimaginings and things like that? Because I prefer the recent Street Trash to the original Street Trash, but it's not a remake. It's just a different take on the same thing.
I would count it, because The Thing would count surely as. Is it a remake or is it a reimagining?
Yeah. I'm not sure.
Yeah, that's true
as well.
Yeah. Well, I definitely didn't like the Thing, the new version of The Thing. That didn't really do much for me.
That'd be the third remake one.
Yeah, that'd be the third.
The Thing from Outer Space. From another planet, didn't they? Or another world. I can't forget the title.
And like Horror Express is based on the same story as well, the Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing one. So like that, even though that's a very different sort of take on it, you've still got that kind of passing from body to body. But I love anything that's on a train for some reason. I just like train. I'm not like a train fan, not like Train Spotter or anything, but I absolutely love films where people are trapped. And trains are always great ones for that. So like Horror Express and what's the Jamie Lee Curtis one? Terror Train. Yeah. Love all those. But yeah, that would count as a thing adjacent film, Horror Express.
Yeah. Right, okay. Shall I hit that spoiler warning and then we'll go through this plot? Cool. All right.
Spoiler warning.
Okay. Right, so the movie starts off showing our main guy, Charley Brewster. He's a big fan of the late night horror show Fright Night, hosted by vampire hunter Peter Vincent. And it just so happens that Charley discovers his new next-door neighbour, Jerry Dandrige. He just so happens to be a vampire. Funny that. He tries reporting it to the police, and obviously no one believes him, because who would if you say you got a vampire living next door? However, later that night, Jerry appears in Charley's room and offers him an ultimatum. Ignore his vampire activities, or else he'll murder him. To be honest, I'll take the first one. Yeah, you do you, bro. Yeah. So, what do we think of like the full vampire makeup for Jerry? He's got very I feel like around in the 80s especially, vampires had that look. You know, like the Lost Boys vampire look, the Fright Night vampire look. From Dusk Till Dawn, they had that look, very heavy, like full zombie, not zombie, vampire get up on the face.
Yeah,
I think...
go ahead.
Go on, Matt, you go first.
No, it's fine. I'm going to let you guys talk about this more anyway, because I have a feeling that you're both bigger fans of the film than I am.
All right. It was interesting you said zombie there, because there is the whole Living Dead thing attached to vampires, isn't there? And I think that was obvious. That must have been factored in when they created this kind of makeup. But I was a big fan of it. I thought it looked really quite visually chilling.
Yeah.
Personally.
Yeah.
The teeth especially were really... They worked hard on them. They keep the fangs, but everything else around it is also pretty intimidating, isn't it?
Yeah,
because you have to go differently to the Roddy McDowall one. You've got to have a bit of, to show the different type of sort of old school horror look with sort of grey hair and buttoned up kind of Van Helsing sort of look, and then you've got to kind of look a bit cooler, haven't you, in the modern day?
Yeah, I was doing a bit of research, and the makeup effects artist for this film was Richard Edlund, and he's worked on films like Star Wars and Ghostbusters. So
cool.
Yeah, no, that's really cool.
Was he part of Terminator as well, or am I wrong there?
Oh, I feel like his name has
I feel like
come
his
up
team were part of
before.
the Terminator films as well.
Yeah,
which is a big deal in itself.
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't surprise me. Yeah, I feel like, have we mentioned this guy before, Matt? I'm sure we've spoken about someone who has worked on Ghostbusters and Star Wars.
Possibly. I know that, I know that a few people who are on this, names I recognise, particularly like Rick Stratton doing makeup. I was like, oh, I know him. He did like stuff in Watchmen. I remember looking at, and then I looked into it more deeply, and I was like, oh, that's why I've seen his name pop up so much, because he does, anytime any character has like cool tattoos, he like does. Obviously, they're not permanent ones, because that's quite a choice if you're just doing it for a character.
That's commitment.
but his credits are like 160 films, and most of those are tattoos.
Oh, really? Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. But like, I spotted some names. I think you're right. I think there's a lot of crossover with some really big 80s movies in here when it comes to special effects and costume and things like that. Yeah, for sure.
Did you notice that Jerry, he eats quite a lot of apples throughout this film? He's seen munching apples.
Well, you know me. No, I didn't.
No. You don't pick up anything, do you?
No, I just watched the movie.
So, like, Chris Sarandon, like, that was his idea for him eating apples throughout, because he assumed he'd have a lot of bat DNA, like specifically a fruit bat. So he wanted to be eating a lot of apples.
That's quite a leap. Yeah, I guess get into character. I was just watching it thinking, oh, that's the girlfriend Amy in it is from Married with Children. I used to watch Married with Children. She's Marcy, the irritating next door neighbour in Married with Children.
That's where I recognised her from.
Yeah.
And I looked at her thinking, you're supposed to be playing like a sort of teenage girlfriend, and you still look the same age as when you were in Married with Children.
Yeah.
You look like early 30s.
That was her main role, wasn't it?
Yeah.
The one the one thing she did outside of this, which she's known for.
Yeah, I think that's it. I mean, I think she's directed a few things and maybe written a few things, but in terms of acting, she was Marcy. I mean, that was like at least a decade, wasn't it? Married with Children.
Yeah.
So it's a lot. Yeah, that's a big chunk of her career.
Yeah, I knew she looked familiar, but I couldn't quite place her.
Yeah, I think she was at For the Love of Horror with the Fright Night reunion. I think most of the characters, most of the actors from Fright Night were there.
Oh, wow.
But me not being a massive Fright Night fan, I was like, I think I was doing something else when they were chatting.
All right, so Charlie, he turns to Peter Vincent for help, and at first he declines, but after Amy and Ed, they go and talk to him, and he then agrees. So they all go round Jerry's house, and they try and get him to drink a little holy water. But that seems to not work. I think there is a reason behind that. But then he notices that Jerry's got no reflection. So he figures that out, and then Jerry kind of like hunts him down. He goes after Ed first, and he turns him into a vampire. And then he hypnotizes Amy and takes her away because she looks like his old lover or something. I don't know.
Flame.
Yeah. And then we see Ed come back, and he goes after Peter, only to be burned in the forehead by a crucifix. So yeah, Peter and Charlie, they go back into the house to fuck shit up.
Ed looks really cool there, doesn't he? As well in that picture with the cross on the head and the
Yes.
teeth at all different angles. It's a really good look. Yeah.
Again, more
Some
examples.
really nice visuals.
Yeah,
in this.
great examples of some awesome special effects makeup. And this is the thing that I don't get, because obviously he's a vampire, but then we see him again shortly after as a werewolf. He turns into a werewolf, doesn't he, Ed? Did I miss something, or he's a he's a vampire werewolf?
It's just
A werewolf
You're having
vampire.
me thinking of part 2 there, actually, because that's got me sent in that direction, because the guy in part 2, there is a werewolf in that, and it's the same guy who plays a werewolf in Monster Squad.
Right.
Lovely little connection. But yeah, I think that's the thing about the effects and the look of the vampires in this. They do have that animalistic look about them.
Yeah.
So sometimes you're wondering what they're going for here. You know, it's an interesting crossover.
Yeah. And that's a really cool scene as well, with the when who kills Ed? Is it Peter? Yeah. Peter kills Ed with a stake through the heart, and it's cool because you see like a reverse transformation scene. Normally we're used to like films like An American Werewolf in London with the brilliant, iconic, obviously it's never going to live up to that, but the iconic scene of the transformation of a man turning into a werewolf. But then you see Ed in this like a reverse one, which is quite unique, really. Like you see him die and he goes back to human form.
It's quite a tragic thing as well.
Yeah, the score behind it really like thickens that moment up. It's quite sad. Yeah, it's a good scene, that one. Yeah, and then like Amy, she's in kind of like a mid transformation, but when Charlie kills Jerry, she's returned back to human form. And the movie ends with Charlie and Amy watching Fright Night on TV, and Charlie gets up to turn the TV off, and he glimpses over the road and he sees some little red eyes. And I think we assume that Ed is still alive. Dun, dun, dun.
It's
The ending very weird.
It is a bit weird, yeah.
it's I don't know if it's just the way my sensibilities skew, like, but what elevates this film for me is, and I think that's probably where they lost out on the remake, was that the Peter Vincent character. If you're into, obviously Peter, Cushing, Vincent Price, if you're into that kind of stuff, then it's something for you to hold on to if you're like a Hammer fan, and I love Hammer films and love all that kind of era of horror. It allows you then to have like an 80s film with a nice 60s, 70s reference in there, which obviously is Tom Holland all over. That for me elevates this film and makes me more interested in it. I'd love to see a Peter Vincent standalone film.
Yeah. All right. So what are we thinking about this film? Should we go ahead and rate it? Who wants to go first?
Can I just make a quick point on what you just said?
Yeah, go
ahead.
You just said about that's where the remake failed because they didn't have that Peter Vincent character. Because that was one of my cross-off points on that movie when I watched it. I was like, I need my Roddy McDowall character in there because it's grating on me that he's not there. Because obviously they had the name was a nice homage. Also, I think he wore the coat that I think didn't Christopher Lee play Sherlock Holmes once, and he kind of has that look of him in that as well, and that did make it too modern for me. I needed that bit of retro in there and that bit of nostalgia. So you were right on that. I totally agree.
Yeah, that's it. Even though David Tennant is perfectly good, but what's he referencing? Like he's not. It's just it just doesn't quite work for me. And even like I don't mind Anton Yelchin as well. Like I think he's really good. Is it called Green Door? The one where the band go to like a Nazi.
Is it Green Room or something like that?
Green Room, thank you. He was really good in that. And old Thomas, he's good in that. But yeah, I think what makes this for me is that difference where you've got like, just for fans of horror, it's got like a little reference point. And, like say somebody who hasn't got into Lost Boys or hasn't got into that kind of stuff, they can kind of attach themselves to that character and go, oh, I know what I'm getting here. And then there's all this other fun stuff as well. You can see why it was popular, I suppose, because it's quite inclusive for all horror fans, and that's what horror is really, isn't it? It's like a genre that all different people who like all different things can really get into. It's all under the heading of horror.
Yeah, definitely.
But I'm not going to tell you what score I've got because I know you guys are going to probably have higher than me. So I don't.
Are you going to wait until we do ours and then you're going to change yours?
Yeah. and then I can move it up a bit. No.
All right. Shall I go first?
Yeah.
Cool. All right. Well, I absolutely love this film. It's gonna be a high score. It's gonna be. I was torn between an 8 and a 9, so I'm gonna go 8.5. Because it's definitely one of my favourite vampire movies. The practical effects, the vampire makeup, the whole like traditional vampire lore, everything behind it. Yet at the same time, it feels kind of modern. And even though it's like a mid-80s film, it still definitely holds up today. A lot like Lost Boys and other films like that. So yeah, I love it. It's a film that I always go back to. So yeah, I'm gonna give it an 8.5, 8.5 out of 10.
Good score.
What about you, Mitch? What are you gonna rate it?
I have gone one just below you. I've gone 7.5.
Okay.
Purely because if it's above 5, there's more good than bad. That's how I rate things out of 10. I really like it. I can watch it at any point, at any time. It just doesn't blow me away like some other movies do, and some of my favorites do. It's pretty solid. I think the only thing, like, if I had to give any sort of slight dislikes that make it not an 8 or a 9, I've never been a massive fan of movies where it's like nobody believes me. There's just something about it. I don't know what it is, and that's not really the film's fault. It's just it's my preference. It's a bit like I was never a massive fan of The Burbs that much at the time. I've sort of warmed to that over the years, but that was something that was like annoying me a little bit at the beginning. And also sometimes I think I like horror to be really scary, but I do like comedy horror as well. But I really like frightening horror, and sometimes if it's a bit too comedic or a little bit too sort of too much, I don't want to say too much fun, but you know what I mean. If it's just a little too light for me, it kind of sends me into the 7s and not the 8s and the 9s. But it's perfectly enjoyable, and it has the rewatchability factor, which is a big deal.
Yeah, that's a good score. Still a good score. What was that? Did you rate it a 7 or a 7.5?
7.5.
7.5. Okay, all right, cool. Well, you're pretty much on level with IMDb there. Awesome.
What am I?
So, Matt, where are you going?
Well, there's so much to like about it. It's obviously a very well-made film, made by someone with a really good understanding of horror, loves horror. There's a real sort of fan-friendly kind of feel to it. I've never, for some reason, I don't know what it is, I can't quite say what it is, I've never quite been able to connect with the film as much as I'd like to. It's been a film that I've watched a few times over the years, and there's moments I really like, and there's parts I find myself drifting away from it at times. Really like Roddy McDowall's character, as I've said. I think that adds to it. The music's great, the special effects are great, the makeup's great. Like I say, there's the story. Yeah, maybe it's just the, I don't know if it's the pacing or there's something there that doesn't quite connect. However, I can't criticize it in the sense of like some of the films where I've just been like, I can't think of any redeeming qualities. I've just given you loads of great things I like about it. So for me, it's a 6.5. And I've only just started doing half marks for things on my letterbox. And if somebody was to put my arm behind my back, and I'm sure I could possibly go to 7. But I think, so I'm going for a 6.5. But I could easily have a 7 for this. But just off personal preference and rewatchability, I'm going to give it a 6.5.
All right, cool. 6.5, 7.5, 8.5. Nice. All right. Right, it's game time. You guys ready to do a cool little horror game?
I'm fascinated.
I'm never ready.
Here we go.
Play a game.
Okay, game time. So quite often we finish up an episode with a game, and normally it'll be me quizzing Matt on his expert knowledge on horror.
As I get old, my expert knowledge disappears as the years go by.
But now, Matt, you've got the opportunity to go head to head. So
amazing.
You've both got 5 questions each, and you'll take it in turns, and obviously the player at the end with the most points wins. And if it's a tie, I have got a bonus question. Right.
Okay.
Let me
it won't be a tie. I'm gonna.
I have a shocking memory. You may have a great chance here.
Wait and see.
Okay, Mitch. So in Scream, what are the 3 rules for surviving a horror movie, according to Randy?
3.
There's 3 rules to surviving a horror movie.
Okay. You cannot have sex.
Yeah.
You can't do drugs.
Yep.
Oh God. I'm stuck between 2 here, and one of them's right, one of them's wrong. I guess you can't drink.
Ooh.
Or is it you can't say you won't be back? It's one of the 2, but I said the wrong one first.
Well, actually, he says like drink and do drugs, so that's kind of the same thing.
The same one, yeah.
Is 1, 2, and 3 says never have sex, never drink and do drugs, and the third one is
yeah. Don't say you'll be back, because you won't be.
I'll be right back.
That's the one.
all right.
I literally had none of those because I was like, oh.
You'd have been fine in the horror because you wouldn't have done any of them then.
Yeah. All right. So Matt, what was the first horror film to ever win an Academy Award for Best Picture?
The Exorcist? No, it's not. I don't know. Nosferatu?
No,
Dracula?
it's not. No, it was The Silence of the Lambs.
Oh, okay.
Got an Academy Award for Best Picture.
I call it a psychological drama.
I do as well.
That's only because I got it wrong.
So, Mitch, what was the original title of Halloween before John Carpenter changed it?
Okay. Off the top of my head, The Babysitter Murders.
Yeah. Oh,
Wow.
2. All right, Matt, your second one. So, How does Jason Voorhees officially get his signature hockey mask in Friday the 13th Part 3?
So it's off one of his victims, isn't it? He just takes it off, or is it? Oh man, I don't know. I can't remember. Is it just take it? I'm going to say he takes it off like Tommy Jarvis or something, but I don't think he does. Because I don't think he's even in the third one, is he? I don't know. No, maybe. I don't know. Oh, geez, this is so stressful. I'm just going to say he takes it off one of his victims in Camp Crystal Lake. I don't know.
Yeah, I'll give you that. You can have that. Yeah, it's by killing Shelley, because he has the mask, so he takes it from Shelley. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't have to give me that. It's fine.
No. He's a victim. Right, Mitch, number
Shelley's
3.
a born victim.
In the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, what real-life serial killer inspired Leatherface?
Ed Gein. Terrible man.
I knew that one as well.
Yeah, of course you did.
I did.
Okay. All right, Matt, where are we? Number 3. So which movie used real-life skeletons as props because they were cheaper than fake ones?
Oh, my word. That could be any.
Mitch knows.
Real-life skeletons. So I could go really far back, but...
It's quite known for it.
Real-life skeletons. I literally can't think of one film. Real-life skeletons. Okay, so there's got to be. All I can think of is an Indiana Jones, but you know where it pops up. It's not going to be 2000s because it'd be CGI. No, I don't know. Not Nosferatu. Screw it. I don't know. Reanimator.
Wrong. No, it was in fact Poltergeist. Do you remember that bit?
Okay, fair enough. I was never going to get that.
I don't think they told them either, did they?
No. Right, Mitch, your next one is, what is the name of the Japanese horror film that inspired The Ring?
If it inspired The Ring as in the American Ring, I would say Ringo.
Yeah.
That's a nice that.
Wait, I thought I had it. Yeah. Not to be confused with Pingu.
Oh, God, no. I love him.
The Pingu thing, I always mention that, how good that is.
Pingu.
Pingu is so good, yeah.
Matt, your 4th one. The xenomorph in Alien was partially designed using which surrealist artist's work?
What? Say that again, sorry.
So the xenomorph in Alien was partially designed using which surrealist artist's work?
Oh, okay. So in my head, I just thought of the Scream mask, and I was going to say the Scream. So as soon as you said artist, I was thinking that. But I'm still probably going to go with that. No, but it's not. But is it Edvard Munch's The Scream? I don't know. No.
I don't know that one at all.
It was.
I've got the hard question.
It was H.R. Geiger.
Oh, I was going to say it was Guy.
I was going to say that.
I was going to say that because I knew that he was the artist, but I was like, he did the art, but I thought he was influenced by another more famous artist. That's what I thought the question. Oh, okay.
No.
Anyway, screw it. I got it wrong.
All right, Mitch, your last one. And if you get this, you'll have 5 out of 5. And
Are you giving me the first one?
Huh?
Are you giving me the first one? I thought I made a mess of that one.
The first one. Wait, which one was the first one? Yeah, you got the first one. Yeah, you got all them.
I've still got a chance.
What is the name of the hotel in The Shining?
The Overlook. I had a bottle opener with it on.
I got some Shiners. No, right. Right, Matt, your last one.
Can I just have Mitch's questions?
Gladly, take them.
What was Freddy Krueger originally going to be called in the early drafts of A Nightmare on Elm Street?
Oh, I know this. But he had to change it because it was like an actual person that he knew, and I could tell you all about it. I just can't remember. Oh man, was it something ridiculous like Teddy Krueger or something like that? It was like if the Krueger was still there, or is that no? He changed the first name. No, I don't know, because you would still, if it was about you, you'd still have problems if somebody just used your surname and changed the first one. No, I don't know. Pass.
To be fair, I actually didn't know this. It is so stupid. Fred Krug.
Fred Krug.
Apparently, that's what he was called in early drafts of Nightmare on Elm Street.
The name of the main awful guy in Last House on the Left.
Oh, is
Krug.
it really?
So I think he
Krug.
used that. I think he used it for that previously, and then maybe that might have been the reason. I don't know.
That would make sense.
Yeah, that does make sense. Oh, well, Mitch, you got 5 out of 5.
Oh.
And Matt, you got 1.
Got 1.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, wait, we need to give Mitch the top score rating sound drop.
I like that. I need some of these effects.
Yeah. Matt, I will give you a chance to have a little comeback. You can have the sudden death question. So, what was the actual... What was actually used for the fake blood in Psycho's infamous shower scene?
Oh, is it corn syrup? I can't remember now.
Kind of. It was syrup. It was chocolate syrup.
Chocolate syrup. I knew that.
Yeah.
It's amazing. I know all these once you tell me the answers.
Because it was shot in black and white, there was no need for any red dye. So yeah, chocolate syrup.
Consistency.
Yeah. Cool. Right. That was a really good pod. And yeah, just to wrap up, next episode, I believe this is Wes Craven actually as well. So The People Under the Stairs.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Have you seen that, Matt?
I haven't.
Oh, you're in for a treat. Cool. Yeah, Mitch, thank you so much for coming on. It's been really good.
Congratulations on your victory, Mitch.
There we are again.
Yeah, I'd love to have you back on again, and Matt can fight you again for his leadership.
I will go first on the questions next time.
All right.
Of course.
Okay.
It's only right.
Awesome. Do you want to plug your channel, your YouTube channel? I'll put it in the link below as well. Yeah. Go for it. Where can people find you?
Well, I'm on YouTube as Primetime Mitch. It's billed as movie reviews for the average movie lover, basically meaning I've not spent years in film studies. But it's I've got plenty of videos going up quite regularly now. I've got a new one coming up interviewing John Massari, the composer for Killer Clowns from Outer Space. I'm really looking forward to getting that out soon. I'm on Instagram and TikTok. Again, it's Primetime Mitch or PT Mitch Cassidy, anything along those lines. But usually you can find me under Primetime Mitch. Same with Letterboxd. I've got quite a big diary of movies in there if you want to read my reviews. And I'm always trying to post content, videos, and daily updates. So I'm very active. And yeah, I appreciate any subscriptions or likes or shares or comments. And yeah, I'm there for the long haul.
Brilliant. Nice one. Cool, Matt. You got anything else to add before I see us out?
No, that's good. I just said I'm subscribed to Mitch. Yeah, that's one more.
Yep.
One more on the list.
Yeah, we'll try and get you some more followers. I'll put your channel in the link below on all of our stuff.
Appreciate it. I'll obviously point people in your direction as well, because I think it's important we do that.
Yeah, help each other out. Yeah,
awesome,
cool. Awesome. So yeah, if you've liked today's episode, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Give us a follow. We love hearing from you, so why not drop a comment down below, maybe give your own personal rating from 1 to 10 for what you thought about this film. So yeah, that's a wrap for today. Thanks a lot for listening, and we'll see you in the next one. Bye.
We all go a little mad sometimes.